This presentation will provide a profile of Italy, its geography, government, and economy, and it is a drive-by version, that is, it's done in 15 minutes or less. So before delving into the presentation, let's see what you know already about Italy. Look at these questions, pause the presentation, answer them to the best of your ability before proceeding, and come back when you're done. So let's see what you already knew. Il tricolore, the tricolor, the flag of Italy, was implemented for the first time on June 1946. However, the first use of the tricolor occurred in 1796. The red and the white came from the flag of Milan, and the green came from the Milan region military uniform color. After its implementation, then came the poetic interpretation. And now we interpret the green as the color of the country's plains and hills, and also the green represents hope. White for the snow-capped Alps, and white represents faith. Red for the blood spilled by patriots for gaining Italian independence, and red represents charity. Here is a quick look at the demographics of Italy. First of all, Italy is a parliamentary government, just like other democracies in Europe. It's a NATO and European Union charter member. The total area of Italy is 116,350 square miles. It is about twice the size of Georgia and slightly larger than Arizona. The climate is Mediterranean. However, in the north we have an alpine climate, and in the south we have a hot, dry climate, more like northern Africa. The population is 62 millions. The density of the population is 596 people per square mile. That's a very high density. 69% of the population lives in urban areas, and the median age is 44.7 years. The religion is as follows. 80% of the population is Christian, mostly Roman Catholic. 20% are atheist or agnostics, and 2% are Muslim. Let's look at the physical aspects of Italy. Italy is 40% mountainous. That's a very high percentage. The Alps represent the northern border to Italy and protect Italy from northern cold winds. The Apennines represent the backbone of the country, and they run from the north all the way down to Sicily. In between the Alps and the Apennine lies the Po Valley, where a lot of agriculture occurs because the Po Valley represents 70% of the total plain area. And the Po is the largest river in the country as well. There are several lakes that are in the northern part in the Alps, and there's several islands. Obviously the ones that are obvious to you just by looking at this map are Sicily and Sardinia, but there are lots of other small islands in the Mediterranean that are part of Italy. Obviously the Mediterranean surrounds Italy, and the Mediterranean helps keep the country warm as well. And Italy is actually very active seismically and in terms of volcanoes. There is Etna, for example, a major volcano in Sicily. There's Stromboli, which is in a little island off of Sicily. And there's, of course, a more famous volcano called Vesuvius that actually will be close to the area that we will visit. Since mountains are an important part of Italy, let's look at them in more detail. The Alps, which are worldwide known, have some major peaks On the west side, the Matterhorn, Monte Rosa, and Gran Paradiso are the better known peaks. In the east, Bernina, Stelvio, and especially the Dolomites are also well known. The highest peak is Monte Bianco or Mont Blanc at 15,780 feet. Now, if you compare that to our Smoky Mountains, I think, if I'm not mistaken, we reach the highest peak around 6,000 feet. The Apennines are a 930 mile long mountain range that is composed of parallel chains that extend all the way from the north down the length of the peninsula into Sicily. The highest peak here is Corno Grande at 9,554 feet. Let's now look at political Italy. Italy borders with France to the west, Switzerland and Austria to the north, and Slovenia to the east. Of course, the rest of the country is surrounded by the Mediterranean. There are 20 regions, 109 provinces, 8,100 municipalities in Italy. Now, the municipalities are the local level of government. So, for example, near Florence, there's a small town called Vinci. And of course, you should know who comes from there, who was born there. The province is Florence, and that is the next level of government. And then Florence is part of a larger area, a region, which in this case is called Tuscany. You might not know, but Italy does include two small countries. You probably knew about the Vatican City, but you did not know about San Marino. We'll talk about these two in the next slide. So within the borders of Italy, there are two independent countries. One is San Marino, which is in essentially central Italy. By the way, Italy is divided in three parts. North, from the Alps to the Apennines, to the beginning of the Apennines. Central, from the beginning of the Apennines down to Rome. And south, essentially below Rome. So, getting back to San Marino. So San Marino is in the central part of Italy. It is a very small country. Essentially, it's a big hill in the central part of Italy. And I'm sure you're more familiar with the Vatican, which is a country of its own right in the middle of Rome. Let's take a look at the Italian government. The Italian government is a parliamentary democracy, not a presidential democracy like it is here in the US or in France. What does that mean? That yes, the president is the head of state, however, it is independent of all branches of government, does not represent the executive power, but it is a representative figurehead that represents the unity of the nation and helps form governments after an election and carries out representative duties around the world, much in the same way the monarchy used to. And I guess you could say it's comparable to the monarchy in terms of duties to those of the monarchy in the UK. Now, the real executive power of the government, the day-to-day management of the government, is in the hands of the Prime Minister. Currently, Sergio Mattarella is the President of the Republic, and Matteo Renzi is the Prime Minister. The legislative branch of government is represented by the Parliament, with 945 elected members divided into two houses with equal rights and powers. The Chamber of Deputies, which is the lower house, with 630 seats. The Senate, the upper house, with 315 seats. The voting system, unlike the United States, is based on a party list. That is, voters vote for a party, not for individual candidates. So that at the end of the election, if the party wins 10 seats, then the first 10 candidates on the party list and the members have been selected by the party itself, take seats in parliament. The Constitutional Court of Italy represents the judicial branch of the Italian government. It's composed of 15 nine-year term judges, 5 of which are appointed by the president, 5 are elected by parliament, and 5 are selected by members of the higher governmental courts. The Constitutional Court renders decisions with no right to appeal. The Constitutional Court has 3 responsibilities. It determines the constitutional legitimacy of laws. It resolves conflicts between the powers of the national government and that of the regions. And it also adjudicates charges against the president. Let's now move on to examining Italy's economy. Here is a quick overview. It is the 3rd largest economy in the European Union. It has an economy which is highly diversified. It has an industrial north which is well developed and dominated by private companies. It also has a less developed, highly subsidized agricultural south with a significantly higher unemployment. It is driven in large part by small, medium-sized manufacturers of high-quality consumer goods. Its GDP, which unfortunately is 10% less than back in 2008 and 2009 when the recession, the worldwide recession began, was in 2014 at 2.128 trillion. Its GDP is ranked 13th in the world. The 2011 labor force employment was divided in, as indicated, 67.8% in services, 28.3% in industry, and 3.9% in agriculture. The international trade of the country as of 2014 shows it to be a net exporter with $500 billion of exports and $448 billion of imports. This is a significant number because Italy imports all of its petroleum, which accounts for a majority of its imports. The major trading partners with Italy are Germany, France, US, UK, Switzerland, Spain, Belgium, China, and the Netherlands. Let's now take a look at the industries and the agriculture involved in Italy. The major industries in Italy are tourism, machinery, iron, steel, chemicals, food processing, textiles, etc. And as you can see from the graphic on the right, they're highly concentrated in the northwestern part of the country. Agriculture, which is represented by the production of fruits, vegetables, grape, potatoes, sugar, beets, soybean, etc., is highly concentrated in the Po Valley and in the southern part of the country. So we have come to the end of the presentation, and so make sure to review this presentation before taking the quiz.